we have week 9 odds here at Couch Potato General Manager. And before we get into the video, guys, check out the link in the description. Sign up with betus.com. betus.com. Check out the link in the description. Drew, we're talking week 9 odds, predictions, spreads, and we're going to start off with an ugly one. The Texans at the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are favored -5.5.
They made sure to put this one at the top too, man. So it just hit you right in the face. It hit me right in the face. And it's bad football versus bad football. But I'm going to take the more talented football team, obviously, in the Miami Dolphins. They are at home.
Okay.
5.5. I really, really don't like it. I probably would stay away from this one. If I'm putting money down on this game, I'm staying away from.
Sure, of course.
If I had money that I was putting down on games, this is a game I am staying away from. Let me say that. And damn, bro,
it's ugly, bro. I'm with you, man. I ain't trying to touch it either. I'm not trying to touch this one at all.
I'm gonna say the Texans. I'm saying Texans cover the 5. I'm gonna take the +5.5, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Texans as well. My reasoning behind that is the fact that Tua is battling injury. There's a question as to whether or not he'll actually start. They may have to end up going with Jacoby Brissett. Tyrod Taylor will be back. He will be starting in week 9. So I imagine, even though he may have some rust to knock off, I imagine there'll be a little bit more energy from this Texans team with their veteran signal caller back. This team looked very competitive when he was in the lineup. It's been a while since we saw him now. Obviously, it's been almost 2 months, almost 2 full months since we last saw him. But I think he brings enough energy, enough vigor to this team to battle the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins win. The Dolphins have struggled mightily. They only have 1 win on the season. I do think the Dolphins end up winning, but I like the Texans to cover as well. Moving right along, let's talk about the Broncos visiting the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys are favored at -10. Drew, this is another one that we got a quarterback situation. Dak did not play this past Sunday night. It doesn't appear, we're not sure whether or not he'll actually play this upcoming Sunday. So what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm not extremely comfortable. Listen to me. I'm not comfortable if we're throwing was it Cooper Rush out there at quarterback in terms of the -10. If you hear from your sources that Cooper Rush is going to be the guy playing, I'm going to go +10 Denver. But if Dak is playing, man, I'm good with the -10.
Yeah, you like the 2-score win?
Yeah,
the 2-score win if Dak's in the lineup.
Easy.
Not only is there a question about Dak's availability, and this may be a spot where you're just like, look, the Broncos clearly by trading off Von Miller, they're not necessarily thinking that they're going to be competitive this year.
Right.
Of course, guys still have pride and everything, but they're not anticipating, competing for a playoff spot anymore at this juncture. If you make that particular move, I can see a scenario. Where Dak is healthy enough to play, but they still hold him out because they don't necessarily fear this Broncos team. In addition to the fact that he won't have his starting left tackle, so I'm gonna go with the Broncos +10 here, man. I think the Broncos showed me a little something last week. In terms of they weren't playing a great team, of course, but they showed some fight, some determination. And again, I'm not expecting the Cowboys to be at full strength here. They do win, but I'll take the +10 with the Broncos. Next up, we have the Vikings visiting the Ravens, and the Ravens are favored at -6. What are your thoughts, Drew?
Yeah. Ravens at home, obviously. And, I was kind of going back and forth with this one, in the way the Ravens play defense, like to be in your face, like to send blitzes. And are you leaving? You're telling me you're going to leave, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen out there one-on-one coverage. You know what I mean? Those are catch and go, and it could be a touchdown. I know obviously I think the Ravens have, one of the better corners in the league, and Marlon Humphrey, but he can't do everything. He can't be everywhere.
He can get got. He can get got. There's no question about it.
He got was it 2 weeks ago against the Bengals? So I'm gonna take the Vikings +6. I think this game will be tighter than most people think, just because of the way the Ravens play defense versus what the
Sure.
Vikings do on offense.
Sure. There are going to be opportunities, to your point, on the perimeter. They're going to leave Humphrey, as you mentioned, and Anthony Averett, Jimmy Smith. They're going to leave them on an island from time to time, and it could turn into points, with the likes of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen out there. But I like the Ravens. I like the Ravens at -6 coming off this bye. I think, especially with the AFC North kind of influx a bit here. The last time we saw the Ravens, they got punched in the mouth a little bit there by the Bengals. I think they get back into the win column and in a relatively big way here. I actually think they win by a couple of scores. I don't think this one's going to be as close, particularly without Danielle Hunter being in the lineup. He's been lost this season due to injury. I think Lamar gets off, man. The Patriots are visiting your Carolina Panthers, right? And the Panthers are actually underdogs at home at +4. What are your thoughts on this one?
So you got it at +4. I got it at +3.5. I might need to hit the refresh button, but I think this is a 3-point game. I think this is an ugly game, and I think that I'm going to take the Panthers. If you got +4, bro, I'll take that all day long. Carolina Panthers, easy.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. Even with questions about Sam Darnold's availability and things of that nature, the Patriots just aren't explosive enough. They're just simply not explosive enough. So the Patriots obviously can go in here and get a win. They pack up their running game like they did against the Chargers, play that defense, but it'll be kind of into the latter parts of the game where this is ultimately decided, in my opinion. So I'm with you there. The Bills at the Jags, and the Bills are a favorite at -14.5. I got the Bills. Just going with the Bills.
Yeah, man. Why they got
even on the road? Even on the road.
Listen, why they got to put the half on it, bro? Can we just knock the half off on? You know what I mean? I'm gonna take the Bills.
Yeah.
I just don't like the half.
Yeah. It's to get your money. The bookkeepers know what they're doing.
Of course.
They know what they're doing, man. That's why they throw that little half, and it's like salt in the game. You know what I'm saying? It's a little half at you, get you all committed, and then of course we get the bad beat going. But hopefully that doesn't happen this week in terms of this particular contest. We got the Browns visiting the Bengals in the AFC North, and the Bengals are favorited at -2.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bengals here. I actually think they win by 3. At the very least, I think the Browns are kind of spiraling here. You got Odell Beckham, things going on there, and the Browns kind of just kind of falling by the wayside, man. I don't know what's really going on over there. I guess I don't know, but I think obviously the Bengals lost last week against the Jets, and it was it was a matter of time for the Jets to beat. I think they do this every year, bro, where they're bad and then they just beat a team they have no business beating, and it happened to be the Bengals. It's unfortunate. Maybe the Bengals are looking ahead to the Cleveland Browns, seeing how that's a division game. But I think the Bengals get back right and get this win. I think they win it by at least 3.
You know what? I'm gonna disagree with you here. I think after we looked at that Steelers Browns game last weekend, and I mentioned it. I thought the Browns were going to struggle to score points in that particular game with just some health issues. Baker not necessarily 100%. Chubb just getting back. That passing game just simply hasn't got on track. Of course, all of the scuttlebutt, you like that word, the scuttlebutt associated with Odell Beckham. That's the question before. Generally when we've had Headley before, I was like, is Baker Mayfield or the Browns better without Odell Beckham? And it's so hard to come to terms with that because he's so talented, right? But it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time since we've seen quality Odell Beckham. Now, the question has been, has he been open? Has Baker not necessarily got the ball to him? There's been some instances of that as well. But generally speaking, when you're that talented and you're playing at a high level, even poor quarterback play doesn't impact your ability to impact the game as much as it has in Cleveland. This is a run-first offense. You understand what I'm saying? I like what the Jets did on the ground and getting their running backs involved against the Bengals a week ago. The other aspect of that is the Jets were able to get to Joe Burrow a bit, and I think this Cleveland Browns defense certainly can do that. So I'm going to take the Browns on the road. I do think it's a close one. I think they win by a field goal. Moving right along, we have the Las Vegas Raiders visiting the New York Giants, and the Giants are actually an underdog at home at +3.
My question is for the Giants: Are they healthy enough? Do they have enough receivers to run out there to play? Because if they do, I think this game is going to be It's probably going to come down to, it might be a 1-point game for me. You have the Raiders, who obviously lost Henry Ruggs, who kind of lost their deep threat, the downfield guy. Now, is it just Waller or bust downfield? Is that what we saying now?
Third and Renfro.
There you go. Third and Renfro.
Third and Renfro.
The Raiders seem to just kind of, things happen and they just kind of okay. We just keep operating. We keep moving. You know what I'm saying? And not only do they keep moving, it's not like they go out there and they win by 3. Like they're handling teams, right? So I think that continues with the Raiders, unless the Giants can, if they get healthy, man, it'll be a tighter game. But for me, I'm good with the -3, assuming that the Giants aren't going to come back with all their receivers and come back fully healthy.
Yeah, I think this one is. I wish this number was closer to like 6. I really do. This one's tough for me. Because, to your point, the Raiders have shown a certain level of resiliency. They've weathered the John Gruden situation, and now more recently, obviously, the tragedy. I don't think the Gruden situation quite resonates quite like this. You know what I'm saying? Something so avoidable. There's one thing about having prejudice and being, ignorant and frankly racist, you know what I'm saying, versus just being completely negligent and reckless, you know what I'm saying, to the point where lives are lost. So different circumstances, but I tend to agree with you in terms of their ability to kind of compartmentalize and get back to playing ball, you know what I'm saying, understanding that unfortunately things like this happen in life, and kind of just focus on, really what the goal is at hand, or the task at hand is. So I don't love it, but I'm gonna go with the Raiders on the road as well. I'm just not convinced with respect to the Giants. I thought they they showed up and they played pretty good ball against Kansas City from a defensive standpoint. I actually picked Kansas City a week ago, didn't get that one quite right, but I think the Raiders can win by a pair of field goals in this one. I think, like I said, that resiliency that they've demonstrated. I think getting back to playing football probably is somewhat therapeutic. You understand what I'm saying? And with the Giants having their various question marks in terms of whether their weapons will be available, and Daniel Jones kind of an inconsistent play, their offensive line has had its struggles. I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons are facing the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, and the Saints are favored. They are at -6.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man, you know how I feel about the Falcons, man. The boys, they just, it doesn't matter who they play, they're going to play to the level of the opponent, good or bad. And at the last minute, they're going to lose the football game. But will it be by 7 or will it be under 7, right? That's really what we're talking about here. And, the Saints, obviously, they don't have Jameis Winston running out there with Trevor Siemian and the crew. Obviously, they added Mark Ingram. He got some time last week against the Buccaneers. He actually played very well. But I can't trust the Falcons, bro. Can't do it. I'm gonna take the Saints in the 6.5, man. I'm not extremely comfortable about it, but I can't trust the Falcons, man. I can't do it.
I understand, but I think you said something that's really poignant, and that's that the Falcons have a tendency to play to the level of the competition that they're facing. This is a familiar foe in terms of New Orleans. New Orleans is coming off of an emotional game. Of course, they came out on top, but an emotional game against the Bucs a week ago. I think they could lose a little focus here. You know what I mean? And the Falcons, compete. I don't expect the Falcons to go in and get this win on the road against a very, very good defense. But I think the Falcons cover. I'm gonna take the +6.5 for the Falcons. Next up, we have the Chargers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Chargers are favored on the road at -2.5.
Yeah, it's easy for me. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Chargers, man. The Eagles, I know they had a scrimmage game last week. Everything was good, but man, and I know the Chargers coming off of a loss, and they probably felt like they should have won that game, a hard-fought game against the Patriots. But I don't see a scenario where the Eagles win this game. Maybe early on it's tight, but I think the Chargers are going to pull away, man.
Yeah, that was probably the ugliest lopsided victory I've seen in quite some time. Right, yeah. The Eagles taking care of Detroit 44-6. it wasn't as if, Jalen Hurts was slinging it around all around the yard.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or that offensive line was just knocking guys off the ball, and there were being huge chunks of yardage being gained on the ground. It was just the futility of Detroit, frankly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I see a scenario here where the Chargers actually could open this one up. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Philadelphia looks at the film here. Of course, they're going to look at the film, but it's about executing, right? In terms of the recent struggles from Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense, if they're able to kind of replicate with what New England has done here, you know what I mean? It may be able to keep it close, but I still can see a scenario where Chargers win this by at least a touchdown. At -2.5, I'm really comfortable with that. The Packers, the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers, visiting the Kansas City Chiefs, and this was in all likelihood going to be the game of the week here. You got 2-star quarterbacks, but Rodgers, he's immunized, right?
Whatever the hell that means.
Whatever that means, he's immunized, so he will not be participating in this contest. The Chiefs are favored at 7.5, -7.5.
I'll say this: if I'm a Packers fan, I'm actually pretty pissed off in terms of that he's not playing. Not saying you can blame him. I'm just saying pissed off that he's not playing in this game is something you probably want to see. It's a potential Super Bowl matchup. You know what I mean?
Sure.
For many, or at least we thought that when we saw the schedules come out.
Right.
But this is interesting, man, because now you have your future playing this Sunday. Game of the week, right?
Right.
Against the sexy that is the Kansas City Chiefs, although they're still struggling. And I don't know.
Like she's cute, but she had a rough night. That's what the Chiefs look like right now.
Yes. I love that, bro. That was a good cover. I don't know what I'm gonna get from Jordan Love. I know what the Chiefs are. I know what the Green Bay Packers defense looks like. I think actually they played well last week for the most part in containing Kyler Murray. Yeah, I think they did a really good job. I think this is a little bit different of a beast in terms of the Chiefs. If the Chiefs don't turn the football over, man, they're able to move the football and score points. It's just that it's these turnovers, man. It's self-inflicted stuff, and some of that stuff is just kind of the ball bouncing the wrong way. It's unfortunate that I don't know that can continue, and I don't know that happens here in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chiefs in the 7.5 points because I don't know what I'm getting from Jordan Love and
yes, he's a big time unknown quantity at this juncture, element at this juncture. I certainly understand that. You mentioned in terms of the Kansas City Chiefs and some of the unfortunate bounces that they've gotten this year. To me, it's the law of averages kind of playing out. You know what I'm saying? Kansas City, throughout the duration of Mahomes' tenure as a starter, has had things break their way more often than not. You can go all the way back to when the Dolphins beat New England in that Week 17 game and gave KC home field advantage, which they leveraged and got to the Super Bowl and ultimately won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It had always been something, a fortuitous bounce, a dropped interception, a play made by one of the Chiefs players on either side of it's always been working in their favor. And this particular year, some of those batted balls, those deflections, those drop passes are finding defenders now. Guys aren't necessarily holding the ball. The ball security has been an issue, whether it be the quarterback or some of your stars, i.e. Travis Kelce. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, it's just the law of averages kind of working out. That being said, Kansas City still has the potential to explode any given week. I'm going, while it is a different beast, right? I'm going to go along the same lines. I'm going to go along the same lines here, even with Jordan Love and not necessarily Rodgers. You do get Devontae Adams back. At least that's what I'm anticipating. Otherwise, I wouldn't go in this direction. I think, of course, we're going to see a lot of Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Jones and a lot of A.J. Dillon. I think they're going to do exactly what they tried this past time against Kansas City last Thursday. It's really ball control, play, bend but don't break defense, really clamp down in the red zone. And I imagine that they will deploy a similar, style of defense that teams have recently deployed against Kansas City. The two-man high, the two-man shell. You know what I'm saying? Play those safeties back, dare you to run. You know what I mean? And if you can run the football effectively, you can exercise patience. I tip my cap to you. Otherwise, you're going to be throwing in the teeth of the defense. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers. I think I'm not sure Jordan Love, again, being that unknown quantity, his lack of experience, I'm not expecting the upset. While they managed to do so last week against the previously undefeated Cardinals, but certainly I think they can cover here. Moving right along to I believe this is a Sunday night game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It is the Titans, the Tennessee Titans, who won't be with Derrick Henry, which is really disappointing from my perspective, visiting the LA Rams, whom I think a lot of people, if they weren't already on that bandwagon or jumping on the bandwagon as maybe they're the team to beat in the NFC. Even though obviously Tampa Bay is still very formidable, they have the GOAT clearly with Brady. They do have that head-to-head win against them, and then of course Tampa Bay is coming off the loss against New Orleans last week. The Rams are favored at -7.5.
There you go with that half again, bro. They just sprinkle it in there. Without Derrick Henry, man, it makes this really tough. It kind of makes you wonder what are the Titans going to do? Is it still going to go through the running game? Is that and here's the thing. The Rams, obviously they don't want to get beat over the top, but at the same time, man, they don't have to do much in terms of bringing defenders down in the box to defend the run, right? They can do it with the front four, and
if they jump out all over you, you can't stick with your run. Yeah,
right. And I want to say this, and hit me down in the comment section if I'm wrong, but where's Julio Jones been at? Right? Is he on the back of a milk carton? Like, what's really going on there, man? Because, A.J. Brown took him a minute, but he got started and he really hasn't stopped. But Julio's kind of been missing in action. That's one of the big pieces, big cogs to this team to if the running game's not working, well, we got these two guys on the outside that we can get the ball to.
Sure.
And it's really just one guy right now, right?
Currently, yeah.
And when we talk about having Jalen Ramsey, hey, who's he going to cover? I would assume it's going to be A.J. Brown because Julio hasn't been there, hasn't showed up quite yet. I don't think this is the game that he does that either. I'm going to take the Rams in the 7.5, man. I feel comfortable about it, especially with Tennessee without Derrick Henry because, it kind of exposes Ryan Tannehill a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think this is going to take some time to adjust to. You know what I'm saying? Henry just went down last week. I think they might have to get their nose bloodied for a week or two in order for them to kind of figure out exactly how they're going to attack teams without the linchpin of their offense in the backfield, right? You mentioned Julio Jones. Julio Jones has struggled with injuries. That's just kind of been the nature of the beast over recent seasons, or actually throughout his career. But, Julio would play through it and then miss some series during a particular quarter, and then you know what I'm saying. But he's been banged up, and then of course he doesn't have a long-standing history with Ryan Tannehill like he did with Matt Ryan, obviously. So there's that aspect of it as well. AJ Brown becomes obviously the focal point of the offense, but the Rams they sport a very impressive defense that will include Von Miller moving forward, right? Now you're dealing with Aaron Donald, you're dealing with Leonard Floyd, Von Miller in terms of the pass rush, and then you got quality players led by Jalen Ramsey on the back end. So I think it's going to be tough sledding. I think it's going to be tough sledding for Tennessee this week. And Tennessee is a type of team that is a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. They can look really formidable one week and then just completely implode the next week. You understand what I'm saying? Without that steady, consistent hand, as in the form of Derrick Henry to just kind of bail you out of particular situations. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 7.5 with the Rams as well. I think the Rams win this one by a couple of scores. And last but not least, we have the Monday night game. We have the Chicago Bears at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are a favorite at -6.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bears here, bro. Let me just say something. So,
okay.
A couple years ago, I made a bet. Yeah, bet US. It was a parlay. Could have won me a stack.
Oh man!
And one team cost me.
Who cost you?
That stack.
Who cost you the stack?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh man!
And they were playing the Chicago Bears.
Really?
And it was a bad Chicago's Bears football team. and the Bears not only covered the spread, but they beat the Steelers.
Wow.
And I Steelers every year, there's always a team they should beat and they just lose for whatever reason. And Ben's hurt and penalties. It's always something crazy and silly. And you know what? I think that this is that game. And I know Matt Nagy's on his way back. The sabotage is back on
Justin Fields.
it's back. No, I'm just playing. I'm gonna go with the Bears here, man. I think I don't know if they win, but I think they cover the 6.5.
I don't like what I saw from the Bears defense a week ago, man.
Right.
You talk about you got Jimmy Garoppolo running for multiple TDs.
That was crazy.
Deebo Samuel catching, smoke screens, taking them, 80 yards. It's just, I was thoroughly unimpressed by the Bears defense. Missing Khalil Mack, missing Eddie Jackson on the back end. They just didn't have some of their playmakers, and they weren't playing good defense. Let's call it what it is, because the Steelers obviously have some challenges, some issues of their own that start with the quarterback, to be perfectly frank. But I was encouraged by Justin Fields, though. I thought Justin Fields, let some of his natural playmaking ability take over, and you could see the talent, you could see the ability. Using his legs a bit more certainly gives the offense more of a fighting chance, can get them out of some precarious situations, extend some drives. But I don't know. I don't like this number. I don't like this number, and I was thoroughly unimpressed by this Bears defense. So I'm a reluctantly take the Steelers at -6.5 here. They're at home. To your point, Matt Nagy's back to come and mess everything up. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Yeah. I don't like it though. I really dislike it. Yeah, man, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for our Week 9 predictions, picks, and odds, guys. Once again, check out that link, betus.com. In the description. Sign up right now. Sign up so you can get your parlay in. Hopefully you win the stack that Drew didn't win. Right. You know what I mean? And then tell us all about it, man.